if you want to buy a property, you want to be able to build equity in it and sell it for more than you bought it for. And you're not going to do that in a stagnant market where you're not bringing in jobs, you're not bringing in people. Unless you're growing as a city, it's hard to make money in real estate.
When it comes to our city growing, how does city planning and the infrastructure growing and all that impact homeowners today? Hey everyone, I'm here with Ryan Spellerberg for episode 3. Great guy, lender at Central Bank. And he's also on our city council.
Yep, Sioux Falls City Council.
Can you tell us a little bit about, your duties when it comes to that kind of stuff and what you do?
Sure. So 2 roles, obviously full-time mortgage guy. That's how we got to know each other. And then Sioux Falls City Council, we were elected just last year, so fairly new to the job on the city council side. But it's been fun, interesting. You get to know way more about the city. That's kind of the selfish part, why I like to do it, is I just know way more about the city than I did beforehand. So
yeah, and I mean, I'm sure in lending that helps a lot. When
Yep.
you're taking care of clients, you have a little sneak peek into
Correct.
what's going to happen in the future. So
yeah, and you can speak in an educated way on what's coming up in Sioux Falls.
Awesome. So we'll get started off with some questions.
Okay.
When it comes to first-time home buyers, when they're looking at homes, obviously they think, I'm open to Sioux Falls, maybe those surrounding towns. What's something when it comes to kind of city planning and through your lens when it comes to that sort of thing that first-time home buyers might overlook or not really think about when they're looking at homes?
Sure. If you're inside the city limits of Sioux Falls, obviously the growth is already done. You know what your neighbors are going to look like. Everything is completed. If you're going on the outside of city limits, look at the future growth map of the city of Sioux Falls. We do a really good job. We've planned out quite a ways, not only water and zoning, but you got to know what's going to happen across the street from you. Because let's pick 85th in Minnesota, where the new Walmart went to a couple years ago. That was pasture land at one point, and now there's a Walmart there, but there are homes that are built by it. So if you are going to buy in something that is not developed, plan ahead. Know what the zoning is for things next door to you. If you're next to a field, anything can go there. You got to plan for it.
Okay, yeah, and if someone's curious about that, would they just go to that growth map? What if it's not planned out yet? Is there any way where they can find that information
Yep, and
out?
you can even call the city of Sioux Falls. We have awesome people on our staff that will help you figure out what the zoning is, because it's really confusing on the zoning on the different tiers of what's happening. So if you have a question, call the city. They're awesome to work with.
So since we're on the topic of kind of city growth and Sioux Falls and our limits, in your opinion, kind of if you had a crystal ball, what would you expect Sioux Falls' city growth to be like within the next, let's say 5 to 10 years?
Sure. Sioux Falls is a pretty slow and steady growth. We average about 5,000 people a year. So think about this. During the Ten Haken administration, we've added Aberdeen to the city of Sioux Falls. So you got to plan on that. We got to plan on both apartment living and residential. In 2025, it is now, we only had under 400 homes permitted to build. That's below our average. So you're going to have a shortage of home this year when you might have more apartments available. Different things that you're going to want to look at. What other questions would you have in that area maybe?
When it just comes to housing,
Yep.
You said there was only about 400.
Under 400 single-family residences permitted in Sioux Falls.
Okay, so what's a good number where you see it and you think, okay, that's great for Sioux Falls city growth. We're happy with this number. If it keeps going up, that's even better. Is there kind of a threshold you can hit, or is it maybe to each year its own?
Yeah, as the city grows, obviously you want that percentage to grow as well, but really we want to be in that roughly 600 single-family homes is kind of where you'd want to see us at. Multifamily homes, we'd want to be anywhere from 1,000 to 1,500.
Okay, yeah. And Ryan does a great job of keeping us agents educated too. He'll stop by the office, always seems like we always see him around here, and he'll give us sheets that go over permits and stuff, and just making sure that we can educate our clients as well as he educates us. So that's one thing we're really grateful for, having Ryan around to help us out with.
When you talk about growth, the city of Sioux Falls had the second best year of permits, dollar amount wise, in the history of the city, when a lot of places are having a downturn. So we're over $1.2 billion in total permits this year.
Unlike any other.
It's fantastic.
When it comes to our city growing, how does city planning and the infrastructure growing and all that impact homeowners today that they might not think will impact them down the road?
Sure. Probably the best example of that is go to Arizona, where they have planned subdivisions out there that don't have any water right now. You do not have to worry about that in the city of Sioux Falls. We have phenomenal planning. We've got a 100-year growth plan for our water that we plan to use in the city of Sioux Falls. So never worry about running out of water in the city of Sioux Falls. Plus, we just added over $100 million project for sewer, which is not exciting, but you really need it. Sewer and water are two of the biggest things you have to plan for future growth. So the city of Sioux Falls is planned so far out that we are way ahead of the curve for most areas. So you can plan on good, consistent growth in layered measures, meaning the city of Sioux Falls figures out where they want that growth to be, and they will annex land based on that future growth and where we can sewer that property. Because if you don't have sewer, you're not going to build properties.
Yeah. And we actually went on a city tour recently, and it was kind of crazy, everything he's saying. We don't even think about it, but, then you drive past, just pasture field, and city's already got a plan for it. So
yep.
It's nice to see that they know what they're talking about, and they're planning well ahead.
Think of this. I know this is weird, but if you go to the bathroom over by T. Ellis Road, it goes all the way to almost by Brandon. And that's the plan for the city. We plan that well out that everything is taken care of.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yep.
So as we mentioned, Sioux Falls is growing in a consistent manner. How does that growth affect home ownership when it comes to first-time home buyers and, positives, negatives? Where does that kind of land when it comes to first-time home ownership?
Sure. I think maybe the best example is look at us versus Sioux City. As far as where we were and they were, we were the same size cities at one point. 87,000 people, and they're pretty close to where they were at that time. Now we're almost 300,000 in the surrounding area for Sioux Falls. And if you want to buy a property, you want to be able to build equity in it and sell it for more than you bought it for. And you're not going to do that in a stagnant market where you're not bringing in jobs, you're not bringing in people. Unless you're growing as a city, it's hard to make money in real estate. And Sioux Falls is growing as a city. Again, 5,000 roughly annually every year coming into the city of Sioux Falls. It's a great place to be. Slow and steady, and on top of that, just from the mortgage side, in the worst time in 2010, we saw about a 3% decline in values. So that's a national mortgage crisis at that time, and Sioux Falls lost 3% in value. Why? Because we only had a 5.5% unemployment rate at that time. We're the second lowest unemployment in the country right now. Sioux Falls, slow and steady.
Yeah. And I'm only 20, so I haven't experienced too much growth. At least actively with my eyes as an adult. But I've lived here since I was born, and just even driving past different places that were nothing at one point, and now I'm 20 driving past them, and we have whole infrastructure, buildings built, all that. It's just kind of crazy to see that I've witnessed it firsthand. Through my entire life just living here. So
you talk about that bus tour. I mean, every year you go on the bus tour, there's something new happening.
Yeah.
Something crazy going on. It's great.
So I feel like first-time homebuyers kind of have a good understanding on growth and development, why it's important for Sioux Falls. What's a misunderstanding that you'll hear sometimes about maybe city growth, or people think so-and-so is going to happen when it might not actually be?
Yeah, I probably wouldn't buy a property based on what you think is going to be happening in the future as far as a growth standpoint. It was just brought up that we might have a convention center downtown. Is it a good time to buy property in that area and maybe see it gentrified? We don't know. We don't know if that's going to happen. I wouldn't buy on speculation. I would buy, especially if you're a first-time home buyer, just buy something you can afford and don't worry about what your parents live like. A lot of first-time home buyers want to live like their parents do already. Buy a first-time homebuyer home. You'll move up and be able to bring equity. But just buying a neighborhood that's closer to your work, that fits your needs. Those are the two things that I tell most people to do.
Yeah, and kind of piggybacking off a part of that, I've worked with first-time homebuyers who, their parents will come with them to some showings, which, it can be awesome, but sometimes they'll think, oh, this house is, $250,000. I would have paid $80,000 for this, And I almost want to say, isn't that the point?
Yep.
Don't you want to buy a place that's going to, appreciate and increase in value and grow as your city grows? And so it's kind of just some of those things where I feel like there's a little bit of a mindset shift when you're just kind of jumping into owning your home for the first time versus, us seeing homes every single day and kind of being right in the heart of it and dealing with it. So,
yep, I agree.
So you've mentioned that Sioux Falls does a great job on planning.
Yep.
So how does thoughtful planning kind of benefit all of the first-time home buyers here, and really just keep our market in that upbeat situation that it's been for a long time?
Sure. So when you talk about planning, we have really good development plans where there's going to be housing in this area, there's going to be commercial in this area. You'll see some of the surrounding towns from Sioux Falls where maybe they don't have that kind of planning, where you're seeing shops in a residential neighborhood next to a bar. We just don't have that in Sioux Falls. And that's really because we plan so well. Because if you want to be in a neighborhood, you want to be in a residential neighborhood where it goes from commercial to multifamily, meaning apartments, to maybe some twin homes, to residential single families. So that's why our city is so well done, is because we plan ahead in that area so that you can plan to be able to build a house and not have a bar right next to you.
Yeah, and that's really important for a lot of people. You know, when I'm looking at these homes that are built now, and we're not talking about the future as much. People do want to stay away from businesses, stay away from those super busy streets, stuff like that. So it is really nice how Sioux Falls has kind of sectioned it out and done it the right way, so that people.
And I'll give you one other example. So I got a call from a constituent on the west side of Sioux Falls. They bought twin homes right next to undeveloped property that was commercial. And it was zoned as a gas station when they bought the land for the twin homes and built it. And now that the gas station is going up, the neighborhood doesn't want the gas station there. And it was zoned for a gas station from the start before the twin homes were built. So those are the problems of not paying attention to what's going around you that people see.
Yeah, and if we're ever curious about stuff like that, always reach out to Ryan, reach out to me. We will get those answers for you. We'll help you out. We'll at least guide you in the right direction on who to contact for that kind of stuff. Because like we've mentioned a million times, Sioux Falls does their planning right. So, if you're curious about something, more than likely we can find an answer for you. So.
And if we don't know the answer, we'll find the right people.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. And Ryan, he is on our home support team here at Amy Stockburger. Many of you guys know about it. Why is something like the home support team important as you're, in the heart of a growing city, and as our city continues to grow and we continue to, get more people here, more first-time home buyers? Why is having something like the home support team really important for a city like ours?
Sure. I think for you guys specifically, you work with a lot of clients moving in from outside of the city. It's a competitive advantage for you guys and a great asset to your clients to be able to come in and say, hey, I've got a mortgage person, I've got insurance, I've got a home inspector, I've got somebody to help paint your house and help you move, and everything that you need to be able to make that experience easy and seamless for your buyers.
That was all the questions I have. I feel like we helped out a lot of first-time home buyers here.
Awesome.
Thank you, Ryan, for sitting down and helping me answer some questions.
No problem.
But that's all. Thanks for tuning in, guys.